Hello and welcome back to another one of my videos. Doing this video just now on the Otago because often people say that this is a ship that is difficult to play. It's a ship that is hard to master, and often nowadays you're finding that they're in tier 10 games. So I've chosen this replay specially. It's a tier 10 game. There's quite a few tier 10 battleships, some tier 10 destroyers in there. So I think it's not a bad game. There's a couple of mistakes I made, a couple of places. I'll highlight them as much as I can do, and I'll try and give a commentary on what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So on this map, the way that I tend to like to play cruisers is to sail close to this island, and then sail away out from the island, out towards the one line and towards the border, but away from the ships that are coming down. So I'm effectively running away as I'm moving away. Now I'm seeing the New Orleans coming towards there, so switch to armour piercing rounds initially, believing that he might come around that corner. Tier 8 cruisers quite often misplay, quite often give you a lot of broadside, and with the armour piercing rounds on this ship are really effective for scoring citadels against battleships, so can occasionally, and also certainly against cruisers. So it's always nice to be able to do that. I saw him turn the other way though, so I decided to switch back to high explosive. Ideally, typically this side we see battleships a lot, so I'm wanting to find the battleships and score some high explosive hits on fires. We find a Fletcher, prioritise him over anything else. We get 4 hits on, so we've done 4,000 damage to him. And I'd already fired torpedoes off earlier because quite often again someone might be doing the same thing as I was just doing around the corner. So I'm disappearing out of there. I want to make a big large circle because that Fletcher will undoubtedly have launched torps up, and here they are straight away. I'm just reassessing just now, deciding possibly with my division to go into the ACAP. We were just discussing it on TeamSpeak where we were going to go, what we were going to do, what we could possibly achieve. I managed to get a torpedo hit. It's highly likely to be on that Fletcher in the cap, and fortunately because I'd already damaged a couple of his modules, probably his engine or his rudder or something like that, he'd already repaired that, and now that flood is ticking down. So that's certainly good to see and good for everybody. Potentially might kill him. It'd be nice to see get him out of the game early on. But with the battleship pushing down, I decided that we weren't going to go into the ACAP just next to us here because there's definitely a destroyer in there, a Shimakaze. We don't really want to be close quarters with a Shimakaze if we can help it. He'll be inside that cap assisting the capture with the New Orleans. Well, you notice that the capture stopped. At the time that I played this game I didn't notice that immediately, so I carried on pushing down here. Now you'll notice I used the defensive fire consumable on the Otago. Since switched this out for the hydroacoustic consumable, would have helped me quite a lot around this corner, but in this game I didn't have that particular consumable, so we're just pushing back in a bit further. Don't really want this battleship to be there on his own. You can see on the map as well that the sort of last detected points of 2 battleships at the back there. There's New Orleans and a Yamato going at the back. Want to try and get that Fletcher. He was fortunate enough just to have 60 hit points left. Was that 60 something hit points left when the flooding must have expired or must have been able to be repaired. And there's also a Shimakaze, so I'm stuck in a fairly awkward place just here. Now, ideally, I could have probably got all my guns onto that Shimakaze and dealt a fairly strong blow into him, but already we can see the torpedoes coming there. He'd last got a kill some time ago. I figured that he would have been reloaded quite soon, so I don't want to take the full spread of torps. I think it's possible I'm going to take at least 1 or possibly even 2, which will be very bad for me. But if I can minimise that, so you can see I'm just starting to pay more attention to the torpedoes than anything else. Make sure I only take the 1. I probably could have avoided it, but I've been given a lot of broadside to the Yamato and other ships at the bottom, so didn't particularly want that to happen. So now we turn back, put more attention into getting rid of this Shimakaze. Nice few thousand damage there from a good few hits onto him, making sure that I'm angled away from things. And one of the most important things to do in cruisers, especially when you're in the presence of a lot of battleships, is not to be sailing in a single line for a long time. So what you're going to see me doing shortly is to be moving back and forth so that I'm not given a predictable pattern to hit. The battleships, obviously, like I was saying before, can be very devastating if they hit you. Now you notice this Shimakaze, I've broken his engine, so he's not able to move very far, and I think I fired just a bit ahead of him there, a bit too far ahead. I still get a bit of a hit onto him. He's still a threat by being there. He's spotting us all and detecting us all, so he needs to die as fast as possible. Unfortunately he does go down, so I'll lose my detection now. and I'm able to move forwards and get a better position now. So really what I'm wanting to do is to capitalise on these battleships being in a low and out of position. And I'm going to be using a lot of high explosive shells, trying to get as many fires on them as possible, burn them down as quickly as we can do. It's going to give me a lot of credits at the end of the game, and it's going to help us to get the win in the game really. I can see that my team is capturing both, well, already captured C, capturing A, and will soon be in a position to be able to move into B, so they don't need me back there at all, and me pushing back towards the rest of the team is not going to help very many people. Forwards here, I'm spotting these battleships, and we're pushing ahead with this battleship who's brave enough to move against 2 or 3 battleships himself, which is you don't very often see, so that's nice to see here. So they've lost 3 destroyers on their team with 1 left, and we have the single destroyer left as well, so not too bad. It would be nicer if they had absolutely none left, but you can't have everything, can you really? And all I'm doing is trying to get as many shots onto these battleships as possible. At this stage, this game is in a position where it looks like it's highly likely to win. As every passing moment goes on and every single enemy ship goes down, it's more and more likely that we'll win. So they've still got that single destroyer left, and Yamato gets only a glancing blow on the rear quarters of my ship. And you can see now that I'm doing what I was talking about before. I'm zigzagging back and forth. I'm not giving any of them really an easy shot on me. They'll fire at me and it saves them doing big damage to anybody else, but majority of the shots from most of these battleships are going to miss me, which is nice. So we're firing on this battleship just here. Managed to get a few hits into him. Because we're moving back and forth, and I'm also changing speed as well quite often here, I've realised I'm a little bit too close to this Yamato and he's still got a lot of guns to be able to fire at me. So I'm moving backwards and forwards. See, we took a small damage there from him. It does pop up as large damage because I've already lost quite a lot of hit points from that destroyer's torpedo earlier. But it's a fresh firing Yamato that he's going to burn down to it because he's already used his repair party. He's not able to put that fire out. So at the moment I've done 40,000 damage. Centre cap looks like it's being taken by a destroyer. There's not anything spotted in there at the moment. And I'm still just focusing this Yamato. And as you can see, because I'm slowing down, moving backwards and forwards, all of his shots have completely missed me there. Now, it's fairly difficult at this range. The closer you get, the easier you make it for a battleship, so that's why I slowed down. I don't want to be too close to him. Make it difficult, make your patterns unpredictable, make it hard for him to hit you. He's wasting all his shots on me that he could be putting into a battleship, letting that battleship survive just that bit longer to put the big heavy damage into him. Now, he's able to repair all these fires that I'm putting onto him, but we're putting that much damage in with the high explosive rounds themselves that he's not really going to be able to repair those as well, and he's losing more damage than he's able to repair at any time. So the fires are still ticking down. In the last few minutes or less, while this fire's been up on this Yamato, I've effectively now doubled the damage that I had before, now up at nearly 80,000. There's more shells going towards that Yamato, and again another nice big hit. Quite often see some very nice hits from the Otago. You know, you get all of those 12 shots to hit, and it'll do a lot of damage to a battleship. So it's been a couple of 5,000 damage volleys on it so far. So now there's a concern that these planes are coming in towards me. So we pop the defensive fire, and a carrier, this is a reasonable player, skilled carrier, decides to move away from me. I think I'm going to get a plane kill in a moment from memory. I remember getting 2 only in this entire game, with the planes being quite a lot overhead. But just having that there is preventing them from going after the destroyer, after the battleship behind me. So I'm happy to use that just now, make them go after somebody else. So going after my friends there in the Takao, Kamikazula, but he's already seen them coming. He's turned into them and he doesn't take any damage from them, I don't think, if I recall correctly. So still moving forwards, and we're now no longer spotted by those planes. And the anti-air ability on the Otago is pretty poor, to be fair, but the skill that disperses the bomb aim is enough sometimes to allow you to survive a shot that may otherwise have killed you. If you're very low health, you want to survive. It's always a good thing to have. So now, like I was saying before, we've got a situation where we're so far ahead on points. We've got the 2 caps. They've taken C back from us. but they won't push much further. We're all starting to turn back towards them. The tide of this battle is well and truly turned. Just trying to scoop up the last bits of damage that I can. I'm at nearly 85,000 damage so far. Just playing, unfortunately, a bit of a waiting game, waiting for these ships to get back into range again, and then we can open up on these battleships and see what else we're able to do. So trying to get the right point to angle onto that that battleship that's coming through there, and then we see what everybody wants to see late game like this when you're on your own against the carrier. It's free, easy damage, easy experience. He's actually reversing, so he's not very fast. So pop some shots on him. I'm hoping really at the moment to put a fire on him if I can do, for one very simple reason. You can see on the right hand side of the map that the carrier looks like he's coming in to do a strike on the enemy carrier. Or otherwise, if I can put a fire on him, maybe the next person that fires towards him may put a further one on after he's repaired, burn him out, kill him straight away. Puts us ahead on points and gets rid of that threat for the rest of the battleships. Perhaps not as important at this stage of the game really, but that's a pleasant 5,000 damage hit into him as someone else puts a big hit in as well. And we can see a full broadside battleship who's going very slow. So let's get some shots onto him. The arcs on the Atago are very pleasant. Reload is workable. It would be nice to be faster, but it's still good. The damage per minute that this ship can put out is very good as well. You can see he's moving faster, so let's put another shot out there. Okay, so we're getting the shots there. So that's an amazing amount of damage there. 8,000 damage onto that ship, plus the fire as well. It was really nice to see, but like I say, he was broadside, and with all of the guns, or most of the guns hitting, you can do some really nice damage. Now, we can see that all of the fires that we've already got on him, including the one that's just gone into him just now, have all been extinguished, so they're no longer ticking up in the top right corner. So all I'm doing just at the moment is just biding my time. I know he hasn't got an easy shot on me yet. Trying to turn away as far as I can do. Getting the shots out just in case he does get very lucky in the next few seconds. Getting the torpedoes out. We've got a fresh fire that he won't be able to repair. And I'm just giving him as weak a target for him to hit as possible. He's not really very interested in me though, to be fair. It looks like he's got me targeted for secondaries, which is fine. And the Bismarck in the centre there is probably going to finish him off. My torpedoes are looking good though, and he's also got the fire on him, so he's going to have to be quick if he wants to. Here we go. Oh, that was very unlucky. So now with only one ship left alive, trying to determine how fast he's going so I can get an easy shot onto him. What did you think to this game? I know I made a couple of mistakes. I probably should have focused that Shimakaze a little bit harder than I did, but I was trying to avoid torpedoes at the time. I probably could have used armor piercing on the Yamato once I got the second fire. It probably wouldn't have done a massive amount though realistically against Yamato. Almost any other battleship, yes, but not the Yamato. But as always, your comments are very welcome. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye bye.